Welcome to the Untold Tales audio anthologies. Written by Don Muchow and narrated by Melissa Del Toro Schaffner. The Fool. I don't know how long it's been since I've known I was God. I've asked people to prove to me I was not, but then again, that's as hard as proving I am. They ask me any question, I have the answer. They ask me what the future will be like. I know. They want me to tell them their darkest, innermost thoughts. Only they don't, really. In the end, I scare them away. And over time, I've allowed it. If you can't make friends, might as well be good at something else. I shudder as I lean into the rain, hurrying down the bitter, near-empty streets of Adamstown, a suburb of Boston I've managed to reach by bus, by begging several fares from passers-by. The dark, wet cardboard walls of brownstone buildings lean in and slowly crumble toward me, their tops pressed by icy fingers reaching down from the sky, collapsing like discarded packing boxes. As I approach the bench inside the lean-to at the bus station, a man scoots his son away, muttering to him. I take a seat on the far end and rest my thighs on a few sheets of dry newspaper, trying to comb my hair back with my fingers. My beard has gotten dark and long. At first, during the initial stays at the Junghey's Institute for the Study of Subjective Time in Maryland, the people who came to me were scientists. Not just researchers, but leaders in their respective fields. Though none so famous as to attract national or even local media attention. They wanted to know how I ticked, what made my special ability work. I let them probe me, push, palpitate, press, x-ray, whatever they wanted to do. But the truth is that I was born this way, and still don't know why. I've looked back at that day, considered what I knew about the bioelectrodynamics and near-field spread-form force tensors under the influence of mega-energetic cross-phase time fields. I debated with myself about writing the seminal papers on these areas of research, most of which would not be begun for another 150 years. In the end, though, it's chaos. The inevitable unpredictability of Heisenberg, surrounded by a voluminous ocean of order that fails to take it all in. That's why they can't explain me. I shouldn't exist. The man is talking to his son now, chatting to keep from being interrupted, afraid I will ask him for something. I ignore them as best I can, looking straight into the shadow-clad cerulean toward Westboro. What did your mom get you today? Space fighter, says the boy. A space fighter? Wow! Father seems more engaged than his son. With the 10-pod gravitational missile launcher and laser guidance beam? Gravitic, corrects the boy, whose eyes never leave his father's face. He climbs into his father's lap, tracking black grass and muddy slop onto his father's belly. The father turns to the boy. No, Seamus. Gravitational. I couldn't stand it any longer. The boy's right, It's gravitic. That's the scientific term for something possessing general ascriptive properties of gravitation. It's also the term they use on his favorite cartoon, Gamma Rangers. And you shouldn't let him walk on your lap like that. The father frowns, grabs the child, and stands up, holding him further away. I get up and move away, too. Just then, the lean-to is flooded by a shiny beam that colors every surface, like a white gloss lipstick. A loud clank announces the arrival of the Jeffries Avenue No. 141 bus. I get on in front, and the man and his son get on in the back. It was a relief to put the wetness outside and behind me and let it fade into dim memory. Paid my fare then sat down a few seats back from the driver and on the other side, so I could make small talk with him. It makes him feel like the world's psychologist. On 2 occasions, having the company had prevented him from killing himself. He kept the .357 Magnum loaded and ready in a locked box underneath a seat, just in case the need suddenly arose. "How you doing, Nathan?" "Not bad, Gunner." I nicknamed him Gunner after he told me about his protection. "Just trying to stay warm and dry." I chuckled, took my frazzled denim cap off, and shook the rain out of my hair. I needed a haircut bad, not as bad as a shampoo. I put the cap back on and nodded at the driver, who could see me in his rear view. "Getting interesting out there yet?" Gunner asked. Gunner always asked me that, because one night I had told him a little about what I could do, in a moment of stupidity. Bus drivers have to put up with a certain portion of crap anyway, so he pretty much let it roll, but I could tell that it made him nervous when I was right. "Not yet. Maybe something tonight. Who knows?" I cast a look toward the back of the bus. The man is seated in a corner, on a flat row of seats across the back of the bus that rests on the blower for the heating unit. He is leaning uncomfortably to one side, and his son has fallen asleep, drooling on his chest. His son's dirty hands are teeming with E. coli, picked up at a birthday party at a fast food restaurant hosted by one of his friend's mothers. The father will catch the flu in approximately a day and a half, though he won't show symptoms for maybe 3. The mother is already home, having skipped the party, leaving her 2-year-old with her sister while she visited a divorce lawyer. She's been fooling around, but she's been so sneaky about it that she will get custody of the boy, the house, and the family's Isuzu Trooper. Hates it when you get that feeling sometimes, you know. Gunner is a fat black man with the soul of a saint, who thinks he can see the future and people's thoughts and such. Maybe he's right. I believe a truly pure man can dissolve nearly all artifice. I nod at Gunner. Yeah. We stop at a traffic light, about a mile up Tanner, at Campbell. The rain has let up, and the night is lit like a stage. The man wakes up with a start, thinking he's missed his stop. He hasn't, so he lays his head back down. Definitely something tonight, Gunner. Definitely. Gunner starts the bus again, and it protests like a cornered pig. What's gonna happen tonight? Ah, come on, Gunner. You'll spoil all the fun. Gunner smiles or laughs, I can't tell which, since his head is turned, as he maneuvers the big vehicle onto Roselle at the next light. The only way he can turn around since Campbell is so narrow, and the buildings run right up to the curb. We're almost to the end of the line, Wilmington Street interchange. Not gonna tell me, are you? His chest bounces with a satisfactory laugh that is held so quiet it's almost inaudible. Not even a little? The man wakes up, reaches for his son, surprised to still see me on the bus, then mad at himself for not keeping watch over the kid. He looks out the window, a little lost. Almost to Wilmington, says the driver. I reach up and stroke the hair back out of my eyes, revealing the silver-white irises that so possess people to revile me. It doesn't bother me, for I don't need to see. But it makes me look alien to people, somehow evil. Gunner, though, he doesn't care. Guess he's seen everything. Gunner finishes pulling the bus in a big circle and draws it to a stop at Wilmington Station. Somebody's gonna be killed, I say, softly, so the 2 in the back won't hear. But they do. The father assumes it's me and rushes his son out of the bus. The kid scampers through the crack into the fresh, cool wind outside, a relief now after the suffocating heat in the back. The father waves at him to wait, and the kid slows down. Outside, a small crowd of teenagers wearing snow caps and oversized Thunder Gear storm jackets sits or stands around a bench, smoking cigarettes. The father eyes them suspiciously. Gunnar shrugs and leans toward me to ask, "Who's gonna die?" "We're all gonna die, Gunnar. You too. Someday." Gunnar feigns impatience. "Straight up with me, Holmes. I'm talking about tonight." I bite at a fingernail, which has become jagged from an accidental scrape on a concrete embankment some hours ago. I roll my eyes toward the back of the bus. "Him," I say. "The father. His name is Eric McClear. A famous Lear once perished in a storm, if I remember, or lost his sanity." I know Gunnar knows the reference, and I'm trying not to sound like I do. He went to a prep school, unusual for a kid of his upbringing, especially someone who grew up in the 26th Street neighborhood of Chicago's South Side. His mother was very proud when he performed the role of Hamlet in his junior play in Evanstown. She rode with him on the train when she went to work and made sure someone watched him when he went home in the afternoons. But at 17, Gunnar got his girlfriend pregnant and had to start working, and he never finished school. No college would take him. Too much of a risk. Gunnar looks out into the weather, toward no spot in particular, and he seems young again. "The art of our necessities is strange," he quotes. "That can make vile things precious." He steps down the front exit and manually opens the door he's been holding closed to keep out the wind. As he does, he lights up a cigarette. "It's from King Lear," he says. "And it was a fool who proved to be the wise man. Is there a lesson there, Nathan?" I follow him out. "You know, you should really stop smoking those. One of these days, they'll kill you." "Oh, yeah?" "July 13th, 2033. But that will be after a year and a half in chemo and P51 gene therapy treatments." Gunnar turns to shield his back and control the burn of the cigarette. "Nathan, who are you?" "You wouldn't believe if I told you." "Try me." "I'm God." Gunnar's laugh shoots out like machine gun fire, loose and fast. I smile. "I told you so." "If you're God, then why don't you cure my lung cancer?" "For starts, because it hasn't happened yet. And if I did, I'd be far too busy chasing around fixing the world to get anything done. I didn't create the world to go around wiping its ass." "You're serious, aren't you?" Gunnar frowns. "As a heart attack." "So, how's he gonna die?" "He's been working too hard. Stays out in the rain to avoid homeless bums at bus stations. Drinks too much coffee. Pizza gives him food poisoning." "He dies of food poisoning?" "No. Secondary bronchial infection that leads to pneumonia. The primary cause will be a viral infection he just contracted when he kissed his son's nasty hand. I pointed around the bus so Gunnar could see. The father leans in, his lips nearing a red spot on his son's knuckle. "Aw, is that where you scratched it? Let me see that." "Now. See? I tried to give it a little lead so Gunnar might believe me. People don't go for the Red Sea thing so much anymore." The kid smiles as the father kisses the spot where Seamus scratched it. He leans in, protective of his son, nursing the wound, oozing concern. "Does that make it better?" he burbles. "I'm 7 years old, Dad. People don't talk like that anymore when they get hurt. I'm fine." But the father seems full of himself tonight. He hugs the boy. "I love you, Seamus. You'll never know how much." "I love you too, Dad. I just wish I saw you more." "I'll try to spend a little more time at home next week, okay?" Seamus looks up at him from where he stands on the bench at the station, waiting for the next bus, the one home. The child's response is brutally honest. "You won't. You say so, but you won't." The father draws Seamus close. "I promise." Now, even I could tell that was a lie, says Gunnar. Know the type. The kid knows more about the maid than his own mom and dad. Yeah, I said, stepping forward and descending the stairs toward the open door. This is where I stop tonight, I say, but only I know the deeper meaning. I hunch my thin gray sweats and torn jacket a little closer about me. The shirt still says Maryland on it, in academic colors, a parting gift from the guys at Young Hayes when at last they admitted only that they could prove I had been to the future and back several times. The proof was so narrow that it didn't even make most of the research journals. When it did, half of them were devoted to the unusual psychopathology of my case. I was pleased when I remembered that one of them referenced my favorite book, The Three Christs of Ypsilanti. Every generation has its Jesus, and most of the time, it's someone on the margins of society, barely scraping by. Like me. I'm tired. Tired of omniscience. Tired of watching the good in the world die around me. Just tired. It is time, I realize, to pass the torch. It does not do well to be responsible for all creation and have such a pessimistic attitude as mine. A little girl, about 8 years old, enters the bus as I exit, handing Gunnar her bus pass. Her mom waves at her from the bus stop, blowing her kisses. It's a shuttle arrangement between two divorced parents who are doing their best to maintain amicability while entirely avoiding contact. I've seen it before. "Tell Daddy I said hi," the mother shouts, over the sound of the diesel engine. Suddenly, I feel the weight of the universe squarely on my shoulders. I pat the girl on the head, and she looks up and smiles. Seeing that innocence lifts the weight from me, and I am once again, at long last, just a homeless man looking for a place to sleep. Gunnar looks at me and says, "Good night, my friend. See you round." But the memory of who Gunnar is and why he was important in my life is already slipping from me. The omniscience is gone, and with it comes a sense of relief. The world, which once needed a conscience, now needs hope. Gunnar and everyone else are the little girl's responsibility now. And for me, it is like waking up from a long, exhausting dream. "No, you won't," I say to Gunnar as I disappear into the darkness. "You won't even remember me." Thank you for listening. We love our listeners, fans, and patrons here at Untold Tales, and we hope you love the stories that we're bringing to you month after month on the first of each month. Please consider leaving us a review on Podchaser. Now, we know that last year was not the best year ever, and neither was the one before. But we hope that we've been able to bring you at least a little bit of enjoyment in these challenging years. And we will be working to continue to bring you these awesome stories and building community so that you can be part of us. As always, we love our listeners, fans, and patrons. Have a wonderful day and a happy, happy New Year.